one day somebody does something unspeakable to someone else, to someone you hardly knew, and you do something about it because you can.
This story comes to us from the Washington Post. A Justice Department investigation into the D.C. Police, District of Columbia, found that Police Chief Pamela A. Smith created a coercive culture of fear that may have incentivized the manipulation of crime statistics, according to a draft of a report obtained by the Washington Post. Citing a review of thousands of police reports and interviews with more than 50 witnesses, the 7-page report concludes that the D.C. police crime statistics were likely unreliable and inaccurate because of misclassifications, errors, and purposefully downgraded crime classifications. Really. Though it does not cite specific examples of the chief requesting that a crime be downgraded to a lesser offense, the report ties Smith to the alleged misclassifications by saying they were enabled by her leadership style. While witnesses cite misclassifications and purposely downgraded classifications of criminal offenses at Metro PD for years prior, there appears to have been a significant increase in pressure to reduce crime during Pamela A. Smith's tenure as chief of police that some describe as coercive, says the report. And they use the initials for Metropolitan Police Department, or Metro Cops, the force's official name. The draft report dated December 10th was prepared by Assistant U.S. Attorney Stephen Vandervelden in the Office of U.S. Attorney for D.C. Janine Pirro. Pirro's office did not respond to questions, and the draft began circulating days after Smith announced she would leave her post as police chief at the end of the year, citing a desire to spend more time with her family. The D.C. Police Union at the time raised questions about the timing of Smith's departure, citing active investigations in both the Justice Department and Congress concerning the potential manipulation of crime data. A spokesperson for the D.C. Police did not respond to requests for comment about the report, and the office of Mayor Muriel E. Browser, who's a Democrat, declined to comment. Now, Smith has said and reiterated this week that crime statistics have not been manipulated under her leadership and that she did not resign because of the Department of Justice investigation or a separate ongoing probe by the House Oversight Committee. Asked by reporters on Monday whether the probes motivated her decision, Smith said she was not driven by anything other than that it's time. This was Monday last. She said, I've had 28 years in law enforcement. I've had some time to think with my family. The investigation conducted by a Justice Department that under President Donald Trump has a pattern of targeting his political enemies. Started in August, the same month Trump declared a crime emergency in the district. That kicked off an unprecedented incursion into city affairs with his administration seizing temporary control of the police department, remember that? And deploying federal agents and National Guard troops to city streets. During his attempted takeover of the city's public safety apparatus, President Trump cast doubt on D.C.'s crime statistics in social media posts. Violent crime in D.C. reached a 30-year low last year after a surge in violence in 2023, according to D.C. police data. Multiple current and former D.C. police officers interviewed by the Washington Post said they believe that crime is significantly down, even as some questioned whether all crimes were classified accurately. Dozens of D.C. police officers and officials voluntarily cooperated with the justice investigation, says the Washington Post has previously reported, but underscoring frustration with Smith's leadership style. In one case, officers kept a list of more than 150 instances since March 2024 where they believed offenses in a Southeast Washington police district were inappropriately classified to downplay the seriousness of crime. The Justice Department report states that after speaking with 51 former and current D.C. police officers and administrative personnel across the ranks, investigators concluded that the main contributing factor and reason for the misclassifications is a culture of coercive fear that emanates from Pamela A. Smith and some of her senior staff. The report points to 30 witnesses who provided information suggestive of coercive pressure to lower crime, while 19 complained of low morale. 19 suggested that some officers who misclassify reports may be seeking a promotion, and 11 expressed fear of retaliation. NBC Washington's Mark Seagraves was the first to report on the Department of Justice document. The report also says that under Smith's leadership, officials who gave presentations were denigrated and humiliated in front of their peers over crime levels in their districts. Said they are held responsible for whatever recent crime has occurred in their respective districts, the report says. For instance, if a district had a homicide and numerous assaults with a dangerous weapon over a weekend, Chief Pamela Smith would hold the commander of that district personally responsible. The draft says the Department of Justice investigative team reviewed about 5,800 police reports as part of the probe and claims that crimes across several categories were misclassified, but does not explain how investigators made that determination. It also draws no direct link between an order from Pamela Smith and any of the alleged misclassifications. Claims of deliberate misclassification of crime statistics can be difficult to prove, in part because supervisors and the rank and file often have reasonable disagreements about how crimes should be classified, officers have told the Washington Post. The draft report stops short of suggesting any criminal behavior regarding crime statistics and calls the alleged problems data integrity issues. The draft report is not the first time that internal complaints have surfaced about Pamela Smith's demeanor toward command level staff. Smith has berated staff at meetings of high-ranking police officials and transferred officials to less desirable shifts after they raised concerns about her decisions, said the Post. A style that some among the rank and file have perceived as retaliatory and unproductive. Sounds like it. In defending Smith previously, Bowser noted that in her experience, internal complaints about police chiefs are inevitable from the front line all the way up to the white shirt, and added that women in leadership are often judged differently than men. So last Monday, not this last, but last Monday, she gave the police chief high marks for the significant reductions in crime over 2 years, noting that she came in at a challenging time in 2023 when homicides were peaking. She said the trends the city was facing post-pandemic really required somebody with deep experience that could move a very able organization of men and women at Metro PD. And that's exactly what she did, said Bowser. DC police data shows that violent crime in the district is down 28% compared with this time last year and 53% compared with 2023, when Smith was appointed chief amid a generation spike in violence. Homicides, perhaps the most difficult crime to conceal, have dipped 30% year to date. The city is on pace to have the fewest slayings since 2017. DC police officers are arresting more suspected killers, too. And data shows that they have closed roughly 4 homicide cases for every 5 they've opened this year. If that persists through the end of the year, it would mark the city's highest homicide case clearance rate in over a decade. Jeff Asher, a crime data analyst and co-founder of Datalytics, said poorly run command staff briefings that focus heavily on data can create pressures to lower your numbers, a problem not unique to the district. Asher said he wished Department of Justice investigators had more clearly outlined how they determined that DC's crime reports were misclassified. And it goes down from there. Oh yeah, it's quite lengthy. So it goes down from there, and you can read it if you click the link in the description box. I didn't want to give you a whole. I give you a lot, but the bottom line here is, if they're misclassifying these crimes or their crime data and their statistics, they do it for several different reasons. One, money. Hey, we need more money. We got, what's going on over here? And you find out that it's been inflated. The numbers have been inflated. Or in this case with the Metropolitan DC Police Department, maybe they're doing it because President Trump said, well, I'm sending in the troops and I'm sending in the federal agents. We're going to take control of your police department. And then maybe she said, you know what? You guys better start misclassifying this data. Let the president know what's going on, but the part about humiliating her leadership in front of the higher management, that's ridiculous. That's just unprofessional and ridiculous, but that's what you get. Um, I applied to be a police officer. Oh, this was several years ago. That's a long time ago now, almost 20 years ago that I applied to be a police officer here in Inland Empire. And I'll tell you what, I met some of the most unprofessional, uh, poor attitude people I've ever met. Rialto Police Department, Fontana Police Department. I applied at both of them, and they have the most unprofessional recruiting office most unprofessional people I've ever met, ever. I'm kind of glad I didn't become a police officer, because if I had to work for those people, it's almost like the kid that got bullied finally has a badge and some authority, and now he can bully people. See, I can turn the tables on you because it ain't on me no more. So you think that makes it right. And that's what I've seen that. I've experienced it myself. So here, this police chief, I guess it finally caught up with her. What do they say? Karma is a bitch and she don't take prisoners.